Plugged in, polarized, fist raised in anger.
Sure. I mean, FirstView, if you take a look at some of our product offerings and you take a look at what a typical bank does for their product offerings, they primarily focus on people who have good, solid credit, people who are used to the financial mainstream products and things of that nature. And so 11 years ago, I started a company. We successfully grew that company that began to focus on people who had challenges with banking infrastructure type products. And so one of the things that we do with FirstView now is we've really developed a suite of products that allow people who, one, don't have access to traditional checking accounts, if you will, to give them a debit card that literally is a MasterCard branded card. Our card is called the Espree card. We work with traditional banks and then remove the risk for those banks as we market and service these types of products. So what it gives them, Trevor, is the ability to have payroll directly deposited onto a card, and then they can use that card at any ATM machine or a point of sale device so that they can use their funds just like you and I use our funds. I mean, it is, in essence, a bank account. The difference is when you have a typical checking account, if you write a check and you don't have the funds for it, the banks charge on average about $38 for an NSF, non-sufficient funds check, and that's kind of nationwide average. Well, people who aren't earning that much, who are at the lower end of the income scale, they can't afford that. They can write a $5 bad check and have a $38 charge, and they're in a bit of a pickle. And so the benefit of the debit card is whatever amount that they put on the card is the only money that they have access to. So if their payroll is $600, it goes onto the card. All they can spend is that $600.
Talk about your demographics here. The underbanked underprivileged. We're really talking anyone maybe 60 and over and you want 20 less, or we?
No, it's a pretty large group of people. The underbanked and unbanked market, according to some of the studies that we've seen, represent 106 million people. Now that's a big number when you consider there's only 300 million people in the United States. But underbanked means people who may have a banking relationship, but because they can't qualify for a checking account, they may only have a savings account. So that's somebody who's underbanked. They may not have a credit card, for example. And they're also using some of the fringe services that are out there, such as check cashers. They're having to use money orders to pay their apartment. They're having to use money orders when their child has a school event and they have to pay that event. So they don't have the typical checks like you and I do. I mean, when my children need something, I can write a check, they can take it to school, and they're set, and nobody knows that they're underbanked, so to speak. The unbanked populations are people who have no relationship whatsoever with a financial institution. So they get a paycheck, even though their employer may offer direct deposits or they receive federal benefits, they still have to go to a check casher and pay anywhere from 1% to 5% to get a check cash. So on a $300 check, you're paying $5 or 5%, that's $15 that person really doesn't need to be spending.
Plugged in, polarized, fist raised in anger.